Welcome in. It is a live edition, again, instant reaction, Northside Baseball Podcast. He is Jason Ross. I'm Mitch Whitmire. As always, we talk anything and everything Chicago Cubs baseball. Right now, that means postseason baseball. The Cubs, they do it again. They avoid elimination. They not only win Game 4 against the Brewers, they blank the Milwaukee Brewers 6-0 at Wrigley Field. Game 5 heads back to Milwaukee in a win or go home scenario for Chicago, a win or stay home scenario for Milwaukee. Just brilliance from Matthew Boyd. Bats delivering when they needed to, especially Ian Happ right out of the chute in the first inning on an absolute no-doubter when they said the ball was carrying a little more to left. And they said in the first inning, Jason, the announcing crew on TBS, if you hit one out to right for a home run, you're really going to have to get a hold of it. And Ian Happ's home run to right was a no-doubter in that first inning. We'll get to all of it. Again, I always note in these instant reactions, we bounce around quite a bit. And feel free to drop your comments. Click the subscribe button if you're watching via the YouTube channel. We're always appreciative of all the support as we try to build this up. We have to start, I believe, with Matthew Boyd, 4 2/3, 2 hits, 3 walks, 6 punchies. Most importantly, a big old goose egg hung up by Matthew Boyd in nearly 5 innings of work in the run column. A night and day difference from his 2/3 of an inning outing in Game 1 in Milwaukee. Matthew Boyd set the tone in the top of the first, which was very important. We have learned that the top and bottom half of the first inning in this series have been very important because Milwaukee had scored in the first inning of every game. Chicago had scored in the first inning of every game coming into this one tonight. Well, the Cubs held up their end of the bargain via the Ian Happ 3-run homer, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. But Matthew Boyd, I honestly thought, Jason, him going out there, one, based on the fact that Milwaukee had scored in the first inning in the first 3 games, and 2, based off how his first outing in this series win against the Brewers, him putting up a 0 in the top of the first inning had to be a massive sigh of relief for the lefty, who was really, really good for the Cubs when they needed him at his most.
Yeah, he was an absolute hoss tonight, man. That was a really big start from Boyd. 9 whiffs on the day. I know you kind of walked Yelich right away, but you could kind of even see, even on that walk, the breaking ball had good bite to it. The fastball had good life to it. He looked good from kind of the kickoff, and he stayed good the whole game. I mean, you could tell he was amped up. I know he's from the area, and that had to kind of be like a dream come true for him to show up and get to pitch at Wrigley Field in an elimination game like that. So that was probably big for him, just like emotionally and mentally. It's got to be a big boost for the Cubs to get those innings, to get that start. That was a lot of fun tonight. So good for Boyd. He looked so good tonight. And I know, like, we're in this kind of like land with Major League Baseball right now where, starting pitchers in the playoffs are not going to go. They're not going 7 or 8 innings very often. Sometimes if you can get 14 innings from a pitcher, like, that's a big deal. I would be shocked if the Cubs get more than 7 outs from anybody on Saturday. Like, I don't think that the goal for Saturday is to have anybody do that. And we'll talk about that later, about like what Saturday is going to look like, what the Cubs might see from the opposite side. But, getting 14 outs tonight from Matthew Boyd was absolutely, it was brilliant. Like, I think if you went into this game and you said Matthew Boyd gets you 14 outs, what do you think the outcome is? The first thing that I would say is the Cubs are probably in a pretty good place. Matthew Boyd gets you 14 outs tonight. You're probably in a pretty good spot. And he did. He outdueled Freddie Peralta, who's a great pitcher. He didn't make the mistakes that Freddie did. He didn't get wild. He didn't walk too many guys. He stayed in it. So awesome job for Boyd, who, I think after Game 1 was probably pretty down on himself. I know the fan base was pretty down on himself. And then to come back and pitch like that tonight, big boon for the Cubs, saved some arms in the bullpen, made the game a lot easier. Fantastic. I don't have any more like awesome things. I could just talk about him all night long. He was so good.
Yeah, I think the one sequence, if you don't mind, Jason, that I really, really want to zone in on is Boyd after that first inning gets the 3-run cushion via the Happ home run, which, again, we're going to get to all this. We'll get to the Happ home run, and you talk about a weight lifted off the shoulder, certainly that for Happ in that moment. But that 5th inning where you're it's still 3-0, right? And you're kind of just waiting, like, who's going to make the next move on offense? Like, are the Cubs going to add an insurance run or two, or are the Brewers going to get back into this thing. And it's 3-0 in the top of the fifth, and Sal Frelick hits a rope that's bending down the right field line for a leadoff double in the fifth. And then Boyd walks Blake Perkins, which 8-hole hitter, you can't have it. You can't walk Blake Perkins. You got to pitch to him. But it's first and second, nobody out, and Joey Ortiz bunts both runners over. And so now there's one out, and Christian Yelich comes up. And Craig Counsell opts to stick with Boyd, the lefty-lefty matchup, and he gets Christian Yelich to strike out in an absolutely huge spot, huge moment.
Monster.
Then they turn it over to Palencia, and on one pitch, he gets Jackson Chourio to pop it out to Dansby Swanson to get out of that. So I think those first 4 innings were great, but where Boyd really put his stamp on this game was that one spot in the 5th inning where he was in danger. First and second, nobody out. Second and third, one out with Yelich up, and he gets Christian Yelich to strike out. And I think that helped really, really put a bow on the show for the night that Matthew Boyd had.
That was an awesome moment. I had talked about it on Blue Sky and Twitter and on Northside that I thought Yelich was his last hitter, right? It didn't kind of matter. Like, he wasn't going to get to face Chourio, he wasn't going to get to face Contreras a third time. Like, that's it. No matter how good it was, like 16 outs was the max you were going to get from him. Then he got you to 14 because he wasn't able to go clean 7, 8, 9 lead off Yelich in the next inning. But I almost think like that strikeout, even with the guys on base, it's kind of like even a bigger moment at Wrigley Field. It really got everybody into the game again in that spot, because I think like internally you're feeling like the Cubs aren't going to score again. It's not the first inning. If they give up a couple runs here, like I think internally as fans you're thinking like, here it goes again. I've got friends in a Discord chat that I've known for 20 years now, or 15 years now. It's actually probably 20 years, some of them. And they were even saying, here we go again, in terms of like what was going to happen. And he got the big strikeout on the inside fastball. Palencia comes in, and, the Palencia at bat's probably one we should talk about a little bit, because, Jackson Chourio, he's the 5th best hitter in baseball against left-handed pitching. So like, you can't let him face Matthew Boyd again.
Yes.
But he had hit a home run against Palencia in his last at bat. I try not to get too into the weeds on those things. And I think 2 instances of that, perfect example, Ian Happ, and we'll talk more about him in a moment, but he goes deep against Peralta, who he's struggled against a lot of his career, hits a home run, probably could have hit another 1 or 3 tonight. But
thought he had one for sure.
Right. Oh, yeah. Actually, if you look at the data, I mean, he legitimately wins a little bit.
Batting right,
4. He could have hit 4. But then you have Chourio, who, again, last at bat against Palencia, he took him deep. And this time, swings, pops up right off, and you're done with it. So, those kind of like meta data, when we're looking at like 1 at bat, or just like even 15 at bats, one guy against another, like it's just kind of weird. If you're a real Cub dork, you'll remember the name Matt Caesar from years ago.
Oh yeah,
he has like 4 hits against like prime Clayton Kershaw, lefty, like off the lefty,
now.
So you have Matt Caesar, who like owned Clayton Kershaw over a small amount. If he would have faced him 40 times, Matt Caesar didn't own Clayton Kershaw. Just like Freddie Peralta probably isn't going to like blank Ian Happ forever. And we saw that tonight. He got him. So those kind of like little meta at bats, they're kind of fun to be like, well, he gave up a home run last time. Most of the time, it doesn't work that way. One of the things we probably should talk about Matthew Boyd is how bad he had been against the Brewers this year. Like, he had not been good against the Brewers. Multiple times the Brewers had got to him. So I know Matt Trueblood had written about it and talked about it over at Brewer Fanatic, who's one of our sister sites, owned under the same Diamond-centric website. So I think that was also a big thing too. He was able to kind of change his game in some ways. And I haven't had a chance to kind of like really parse through the data and like, what did he do different, and how did he kind of use maybe what the Brewers were against him. But what I can tell you is, the Freddie Peralta aspect of that is, Freddie Peralta walked into this game. I wrote an article on it today. Lefties, he kind of changed his style mid-season, and he started to go change up, down, fastball up. It used to be change up, down and away, fastball up and in, which when your pitches have a north-south kind of break to them by going away from each other. It created an easy decision point for lefties. If it was going down, what was going to go away was a changeup. They don't tunnel as well. But when they kind of come in the same and then break, one breaks up, one stays up, and one breaks down, it was a very difficult position. If you look at Ian Happ's home run, it's kind of that home run that he hit. If you look at the at bat that he took, it was change up down, and then where was the fastball? Boom, he puts that fastball in that upper third. Ian Happ knew that because he pitched that way to the Cubs in the last of game 2. And he was able to take that pitch out. So I think the Cubs have been looking at that data too, because Kyle Tucker spit on a bunch of changeups down low as well. So the team seemed to kind of know the game plan a little bit against Freddie Peralta tonight. And I know, they only scored the 3 runs. They all came in the first inning again, but you could just see, even as the game went on, it never felt like the Cubs were having like terrible at bats against Freddie today. It felt like they were kind of in it. So awesome job on that aspect too. Just a lot of
they worked a lot of good counts too. They really worked some of those at bats. One thing that just came to my mind too, and obviously, we're kind of talking about the 8.5 home run. That's such a huge moment for him. And Counsell noted in that in between inning by the dugout interview that they do, he referenced, he's like, yeah, it's been a rough postseason for Ian Happ, like big spot for him to step up and deliver. And those numbers that you mentioned, I just pulled them up just out of curiosity. And you weren't kidding, Jason. Ian Happ entering tonight, career against Freddie Peralta, 3 for 35 with 15 strikeouts. The interesting part is, of those 3 hits, 2 of them were home runs.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. And now
the other guy who's just like that is Michael Busch.
3 for 19 with 3 home runs.
Yes, that's crazy. Yes, same thing. Yeah, baseball is a weird sport, man, where like you can absolutely dominate a guy, but then like the guy can still hit the ball 450 feet 3 times off of you, and there's like nothing in between. It's the weirdest sport. You never really see that like in other sports. You're not like, oh man, this guy's like terrible against the Chicago Bears, but every once, but 4 times in his life he's thrown a 97-yard touchdown pass.
Something crazy.
Baseball's weird like that, where just weird things happen. So Michael Busch and Ian Happ, weird things happen with Freddie Peralta pitches. I thought the game plan all day on Freddie was pretty good. Like I said, they only scored the 3 runs early, but they really felt like I thought they just kind of looked more comfortable against him today than they did at any point in the last game. Even when, Michael Busch led off the game with a home run, it was kind of like after that, there wasn't a lot of, they didn't feel very comfortable against him. This time they did. So credit to the Cubs for making some adjustments. Offensively, they've gotten a lot of flack, I feel like. One thing we probably haven't talked about is, how the Cubs haven't scored a lot of runs outside of the first, so the Brewers haven't scored a lot of runs outside of like the second inning either. So this is a weird series. I'm actually gonna petition you that we go live after the top of the second on Saturday. Game's probably gonna be over no matter what the score is.
Whatever that score is probably
we'll just go. We figure we just go live at the top of the second. Whatever that score is, that's gonna be the winner. So it's such a weird series. It just feels
very
like
weird.
Whoever comes away like after the first, they're winning it. That's just kind of it. It's a weird series on that aspect.
There's like some of these. You ever see like Lakers games? Like fans will be filing in like 7-8 minutes into the first quarter, even for playoff games, and they get a lot of flack for that. Miami Heat fans are like notorious for that in the NBA. Like when they had LeBron and Bosh and Wade, it's first quarter of like the ECF, and you're 6-7 minutes in, and the lower bowl is still, it's not empty, but there's empty chunks, and people are still filing in. This is a series where it's like you better be in front of your TV, you better be in your seat if you're at the game from the opening pitch, because there are fireworks very, very early on in this game that matter in a big way every single game so far in this series. So it's been huge. Northside Baseball Podcast, live reaction, instant reaction. Mitch Woodmeyer, Jason Ross with you. The Cubs, they do it again. They force a Game 5 Saturday night in Milwaukee. The winner will advance to take on the Dodgers, who eliminated the Phillies tonight. Brutal ending for Philadelphia.
Heartbreaking. I know there's so many people on Kirkering for that one. And on one hand, you got to kind of blame him a little bit. On the other hand, that's just such a wild play. Ball comes back, hits him. He's got to see that runner coming close to home. Instincts kind of take in. I feel
as
awful
soon
for
as
that
that
guy.
wasn't a clean transition on the ball coming to him, that mind started racing 1,000 miles an hour. And
Yeah,
he's not thinking, oh, there's 2 outs, I should just go to first. He's thinking, oh my gosh, I'm watching as I'm getting the ball, this runner is barreling down the third baseline, and he just that's a horrific way to end it for the Phillies.
I'm watching the winning run score, and you're not thinking.
And Real Muto was, I don't know if you saw it, he was pointing at first, but at that point, that pitcher's mind either froze.
Yes.
But I don't even think it froze because he still threw home. I think he was just racing.
I think he was racing. He was doing whatever he could to get it out in that point. And
horrible. Feel horrible for that guy.
I feel horrible for that guy too. I know it's an error and you have to blame him a little bit for it, but like I also kind of don't. But it was brutal loss for the Phillies. I mean, it'll be whoever comes out of the series is clearly going to be the underdog. When
if it's the Brewers who will have home field, because we're going to a game 5 and the Dodgers are going to have a rested rotation and
ready to go rotation right now. So yeah, I mean they're going to be without Tanner
now in a game 4. Do you know what some teams would do to have a Glass now starting a game 1 or a game 2 for their team?
God, yeah. I mean,
he started game 4 for the Dodgers.
He started game 4 for the Dodgers.
Crazy.
We'll talk a little bit later about what both the Brewers and the Cubs are going to do in game 5, the deciding game of their series. But I think it's probably going to be like a bullpen game for both teams and their decider. Like that's probably what it's going to be. And the Dodgers are throwing out Glasnow at the start of the game, and their big prize possession, Roki Sasaki, who I know hasn't been very good this year, but he's pitching innings out of the bullpen, and so it's wild right now. It is a healthy Dodgers rotation is wild.
Yeah, let's get to some of the comments. Tucker lives from Ori, and Jeff also says, "Is Tucker getting healthy changes everything?" I will note this. We brought this up after last night's game. You brought it up, and then we dove into it for a couple minutes. Tucker dancing off first base as much as he did on the sequence on the play where he got picked off kind of put a little light into the idea that he must be feeling all right, or at least better. Maybe not perfect because he's still only DH and he's not in the field, but he's got to be feeling better to be dancing like that off the bag. Like those little moments you have to zone in on those little moments to kind of give you clues as to maybe how a certain guy's feeling. And I kind of took that with Tucker.
Yeah, you got to find those moments, and just as his bats feel better. Like his bats all series. I mean, really, if you go back to game 3 against the Padres, they've just gotten better and better and better. I know it's been a lot of singles and walks, but I don't know, maybe this is just a me thing, but I kind of feel like when a guy's about to go hot, right? A guy's about to get hot, you kind of see like a pattern of like pitch recognition comes through in terms of like walks and things like that. Guys are seeing the zone, they're seeing the pitches really well, and then that begets like comfort and confidence in your swing, and then you're hitting singles, doubles, and then it kind of turns into like a home run barrage. I'm not saying that Kyle Tucker is going to go on bananas and start hitting a bunch of home runs, but I also kind of feel like if it feels like we're probably going to get like real Kyle Tucker for game 5. And the Cubs offense is probably going to need that. Yeah. If you're getting real Kyle Tucker, like this is the time to have him. I'm not going to say that any of this is going to matter in the offseason. Jesse Rogers, if you didn't see it, he had sent out a tweet to a fan the other day, basically insinuating that the Cubs have never intended to sign Kyle Tucker. Dave Kaplan disagrees with that. So you can kind of pick your favorite Cubs Twitter blowhard. They kind of both fit in the category. Both of them know people. Rogers has known people since Theo came around, so he's got connections. And Kaplan knows Craig Kenny, who's the money guy. So like they both know people. However, like if you want the Cubs to re-sign Kyle Tucker, I think 2 things you really need to happen. One, you need home games in the playoffs. That's huge money. That's real big money. And if you want Tom Ricketts to kind of change his mind about signing Kyle Tucker, home games in the playoffs are going to make him do that. And you're going to have more money to sign. And the other thing is kind of proven that his bat is necessary, right? You got to kind of prove that you have to have a Kyle Tucker, and hitting a home run tonight. If he has a big game 5 and we make it to the NLCS, maybe it's just enough to push them kind of into a territory where they really do take it a little bit more seriously. But that's also, I'm also kind of jumped up on hopium right now on everything. I'm just real optimistic about things. So I'm excited about everything. I was so happy to see him do well. He looked good. He looks healthy. I don't know if you're seeing the same thing as me, Mitch, with is just like kind of like how he just feels at the plates, like just the vibes of him just feel a little bit better when he's swinging.
Yeah, and then I saw the homer tonight, lefty on lefty. I mean, that's always adds a little cherry on top when it's a lefty pitcher that he's doing that damage off of for a long ball. Northside Baseball Podcast, instant reaction. Cubs not only win Game 4, they blank the Brewers 6-0. Mitch Widmeyer, Jason Ross, here with you, giving you the instant reaction. We're going to be here for, at least probably 25, 30 more minutes tonight. So we will talk Game 5 and kind of what we expect, because I did see, I'm not skipping over comments. Zach said, do we know probables? We certainly don't, but I'll say this on my end, Jason, and certainly feel free to disagree or agree, whatever avenue you want to take. I feel much more comfortable saying I'm pretty sure the Brewers are going to go with Mizorowski than I do trying to guess with what I think the Cubs might do.
Yeah.
Like, I think the easy answer is people are going to think Shota, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe it's Kittredge in the first again, and then they try Shota for maybe 6 outs, or you could do Ray, Savant. Like, there's a lot of directions the Cubs could go. I'm looking at the Brewers, and I'm like, okay, Game 3, they used Priester and Quintana. This game tonight, Freddie Peralta was used, and they used, the interesting option that I thought they might try to sneak in for a Game 5, knowing Pat Murphy, is maybe they start with Patrick for a couple innings, but they used him tonight. But he only threw 4 pitches. So but I just thought using him at all, given where the game was at, maybe rules him out to start Game 5. Maybe he comes in later. I feel pretty confident. As many curveballs as Pat Murphy will throw the direction of the opposition and the media and all that, I feel pretty confident saying they will start Mizorowski, or at least he'll be relied upon to hopefully get them maybe 9 to 12 outs.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling.
More so than I feel any confidence trying to get a beat on what Craig Counsell is going to do. I just think there's a lot more options for the Cubs, which is it's kind of a good problem to have. Like, it's bad that you don't have a stand, like Shota was pretty damn good his first year. This year, more of a roller coaster ride, although, it wasn't like he was awful. But I think if it was Shota of last year, you feel more confident, probably toss him out there. I just think there's way more options for the Cubs. Whereas with the Brewers, it's going to be Mizorowski, and his antics on the mound, off the mound, like that makes for some good theater for a Game 5, do or die scenario for both of these teams. So again, I'm not sure where you're at with that. I kind of heard you say a couple of times when I was talking. Do you feel like it's going to be Mizorowski against TBD? Like, I honestly have no clue what direction Counsell's going to go.
I'll say this. I don't know who's going to start each game. With the Brewers, I'm confident that the guy who they expect to pitch the most outs is Mizorowski. Like, that's like, I'm confident. Whether it's like an Ashby to Mizorowski thing like they did in Game 2, whether it's like Mizorowski starts and then they go into bullpen mode. I think Mizorowski's the guy who's going to throw 3 innings for them. Like, he's got 9 outs, and that's what they're hoping for. On the Cubs end, I don't think whoever starts matters. I think that they're not doing that. I think what their goal is, it's Johnny Holstaff on Saturday. It's going to be, I think nobody is going to be pinned for more than 6 outs. Like, nobody. I think you're probably going to see Shota for a little bit. You could see Tyone for an inning or 2. You could see, you're probably going to see Keller. You're going to see Kittredge. Like, Kittredge is a guarantee at some point. Thielbar, you're going to see Pomeranz. Palencia, these guys all have 3 to 6 outs in them. And what the order is, I think, is going to a lot of times depend on matchups and how the Cubs feel about the matchups and what they expect the Brewers to do early in the game. And then it's just going to kind of be whomever after that. So I don't expect that there is going to be a quote unquote like starter for the Cubs. Whereas the Brewers, I'm not sure there's going to be a starter, but I am confident that Mizorowski is going to be the guy. I wrote up scouting reports on Priester and Freddie Peralta the last 2 games. I kind of came up with some plans if I was a hitter and like what I thought would be successful for the Cubs. And really the last 2 games, it was the left-handed hitters. And I think the last 2 games, Yeah, I'm gonna pat myself on the back. I think I kind of nailed it on both of those scouting reports. We were talking in our Slack channel, and I'm looking into Mizorowski tomorrow. I'm gonna get deep into the weeds there and see what I can find. He throws 104 miles an hour when he's coming out of the bullpen, and he doesn't have to go 6 or 7 innings. So that's going to change everything. But I think, if you can find a pattern with somebody as good as Freddie Peralta is, and I found that with the changeup and the fastball to lefties, you can find a way to attack anybody. That doesn't mean that it's going to work or that it's guaranteed to work, but you can find patterns and you can find things. And, I'll always say this, if I can do it at home, I assure you that there are people in the Cubs organization who are doing it too. And God, if they're not, you can find me here, Hoyer. I'll be glad to give you these for free. Like I'll pass them on to you if you guys don't have anybody doing this. I know that they do. So, I'm confident that whatever it is that I can find with a savant search and looking at fan graphs and heat maps and pitch tendencies and everything like that, I'm confident that the Cubs will as well. But if I were the Cubs, I would go into Saturday. I would say, like, how do I get to Mizorowski? I think my first feeling about that is you have to force him to throw strikes. Like, that's kind of the thing. Like, he just doesn't throw a lot of strikes on his own. And you could see that at times he was teetering on the edge in game 2, right? Crowd's there. He's amped up. He's throwing it as hard as he could. And there were, like, he couldn't spot the fastball for a little bit. He kind of settled in with the slider there, and then the fastball came back. So, I think my cursory, like, first thought on this for the Cubs is going to be go in there and be patient against Miz. Like, that's probably the first sign of success is, like, if you let Miz beat himself, you can beat Miz, is probably what my thought is, as my first. Whether or not I can confirm or deny that, or I can find anything else in there, or the Cubs find anything else in there, I don't know right now. But I think, that's probably the first scouting report that the Cubs are looking at, right? Going into game 5, if they can get Miz, they probably are feeling pretty good. So we'll see. But yeah, I think it's going to be Mizorowski versus the Cubs team. That's the pitching matchup I think is most likely to see on Saturday in some fashion.
Is worth noting, recent memory, that's kind of what's in our mind or at the front of it. And Mizorowski was really good. 3 innings, 1 hit, 2 walks for the Brewers in that 7-3 win just back on Monday. But he did have 2 starts against the Cubs this year, and this is where I will just wait patiently in the next couple days for you to get your article out. But he had 2 starts against the Cubs this year, 1 at Wrigley, 1 in Milwaukee, Jason. 4 innings, 3 runs, with 2 walks and 7 strikeouts. And then he went 4 innings again, 3 runs, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. So it is worth noting the Cubs were able to get to him on a couple of occasions this year. The sample size and the data is obviously really small within all of that.
Yeah.
But
my knowledge,
it's not like Mizorowski's. Sorry for cutting you out. It's not like Mizorowski's going to go out there Saturday for 9 or 12 outs, and you're just thinking, these are going to be auto outs. Like, the Cubs can get to him.
No, the Cubs can get to him. And I was just going to say, like, the one thing that I just remember off the top of my head is, again, I remember him getting to himself. He had both of those games. I remember in the first inning, he almost pitched himself out of the inning because he threw so many damn pitches. And I remember thinking, like, both of those games, I was like, oh man, Miz isn't going to make it. Like, Miz isn't going to make it out of the first inning tonight. And he did. He kind of settled in after that. But I guess if you want a positive and you want to kind of, like, really hang your hat on something, during this series, the Cubs have made the first inning count in 4 games. Like, in some way, shape, or form, offensively, the Cubs have made the first inning count. If I remember back to Mizorowski, he struggled in that first inning to settle in against the Cubs. And I don't have my stuff pulled up on it.
I just pull whenever you want it.
But yeah, but I remember, I think I remember correctly, like, there was one game especially, he was like at 30 or almost 30 pitches at the end of the first. And I remember thinking, man, they're going to knock him out pretty early. I think maybe the other one was like in the second inning, if I remember correctly. I'm just kind of trying to go into my memory banks on it. But you figure if the Cubs have already, like, shown a penchant of getting to pitchers early in the series, and you've had history against Mizorowski getting to him early, I don't know, maybe like that's kind of like a good feeling. Maybe that's good vibes for going into Saturday. And I know you said you have it pulled up, so you can either confirm or deny my memory ability.
Yeah. The one start on July 28th, the Cubs tagged him for 3 runs in the first inning.
Okay.
And just to kind of condense it,
Yeah.
I'm not going on and on. It went single, walk, single, strikeout, single, walk, strikeout, and the Cubs got him for 3 runs. 3 runs, 3 hits, and an error in that first inning. The Brewers went on to win the game 8-4, but the Cubs did jump on Mizorowski early in that start, as you said, in the first inning. And then the second one, I got to pull it up because he gave up 3 runs. This is going to be a fascinating one to look at. If you give me a second, he gave up 3 runs, Jason, in 4 innings, but only 1 hit.
Oh man,
isn't that kind of weird?
Weird.
So I'm just going to try to find the inning real quick as to where they got third inning. Oh my gosh, he walked the bases loaded to start the inning.
Oh, I do remember that.
Walked Owen Casey, walked Dansby Swanson, walked Matt Shaw. Michael Busch hit a bases clearing double. So it literally went walk, bases clearing double, and then he got a ground out, strikeout. So walked the bases loaded. Busch cleared him with a double, and then he got 3 straight outs. So you just said it, like Mizorowski can get a little, if you let him pitch outside the zone, he'll pitch outside the zone. Like it can get a little wild at time.
And
walked the bases loaded to start the third in that game. That was back on August 20th.
Real quick look at the splits. He's given up 8 home runs this year, and 6 of them came to lefties. So, like, I'm having a feeling that it's probably going to be like a third straight day where I'm like, listen, lefties, it's up to you. The weird thing, though, about it is, so he's given up 3 times as many home runs to lefties as righties, has basically faced the same amount of hitters between the both, but strikes out lefties at a 38% clip and righties at a 25% clip. So it's like he tends to like leave pitches bad to lefties, but then also dominate them, which is just weird.
Yeah.
Rookies are weird, man. It's going to be fascinating on Saturday. I'm excited.
Getting back to this game, because there's 2 more things I want to hit on, if you don't mind, Jason.
Yeah.
The bullpen. We cannot. I have it on the rundown. Bullpen dominates. 4 1/3, 1 hit, 1 walk. That's it. Palencia gives you an inning and a third, 1 hit. Pomerantz, a clean 1-2-3 inning. Brad Keller in the 8th, 5-0, and Brad Keller starts the inning with 6 straight balls. He walks Yelich, 2-0 to Jackson Churio, and then retires 3 straight to get out of it. And then Caleb Thielbar with a 1-2-3 9th inning. The bullpen was awesome.
Yeah, it's been awesome all series. I mean,
can I ask you one question before you dive into your thoughts? Were you surprised at all to see Brad Keller, given that it was 5-0, or no?
No, actually, okay. I actually loved the decision.
I didn't hate the decision. I was just a little surprised.
I loved it, and I wasn't surprised. You had top of the order coming up in the 8th. I knew it wasn't a 6-out situation. You have to get to Saturday, right?
Yeah,
you're up by 5. It doesn't matter. You have to play on Saturday. You have tomorrow night off. And the one thing about Brad Keller is this is a former starting pitcher. This guy's been a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball a long time. If there's a guy that you can kind of ride and you say, yeah, he can pitch 2 games in a row, it's probably Brad Keller. This is a dude who has pitched. I mean, just to look it up, my guess is he has pitched 600, like probably 700 to 800 innings at Major League Baseball at this point. It could be 1,000. He's pitched 790 Major League innings.
Wow.
He has had years of 140, 165, 133, 139. This is a guy who's pitched a lot of innings in Major League Baseball through his career. At times as a starter, he has not thrown 200 or anything like crazy, but he's thrown enough to where you say, hey, can you get me 3 outs at the top of the order? You've got Yelich, you've got Churio, you've got Wilson Contreras. What you cannot do is give up a 2-home run right away, make the game 5-2, start worrying about it. So I think they went with Keller right there. Wasn't super surprised. He did start off with a couple balls, but then he came back. He got Churio. And then to get Contreras to roll out to the double play was awesome. And I always suspected if they were up at least 5 going into the 9th that they would put in somebody else. They went with Thielbar. Actually, and I think that is telling. I thought if you saw Colin Ray, that probably would have let you know that he was definitely not starting on Saturday. But that they went with bullpen. I mean, I think kind of everybody is open at this point on Saturday, so it's going to be. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. The bullpen's been so good, so good. It really has been. That's one of the reasons why the Brewers haven't really scored after I think they scored 1 run after the 5th inning the entire series. That's been the bullpen. The bullpen has been fantastic. And there were times that they were really needed. The designated losers early in the series when they were kind of getting crushed in game 1 and game 2 where it just didn't look good. A lot of that was designated loser inning eating. And I think that kind of set up a healthy bullpen for games 3 and 4 to get those days off coming back from San Diego. They got multiple days off, and I think that's really kind of energized the bullpen and allowed them to continue to shut down the Padres when they needed to.
Jordo says, "Let's go." Also says,
Jordo.
World Series calling our name. Oh, that'd be sweet. Got to get by the Brewers, and then Cubs Dodgers in the NLCS would be theater.
A third time. Third time.
That would be cinema. Zach says changeup increase from 1% to 11% versus right-handed hitters. Left-handed hitters, Kane home run makes sense versus lefties.
Probably a bet's miss.
Yeah. And then Michael says, I'm happy the Cubs won, but I'm still nervous. Oh, absolutely nervous. Let me try to help Michael for a second, if I may, Jason, because he says he's nervous, and I'm sure all Cubs fans are nervous. So I was scrolling on X during this game, like once it was 5-0. I started scrolling on X a little bit. So I worked at FanDuel Sports Network for a few years. I don't any longer, but I worked there for a few years. And so, you're following team reporters, Brewers, because we cover the Brewers, because I worked for the Wisconsin region and the North region.
Okay.
And so I was looking at some of the Brewer reporters that tweet during the games, but I was looking at the responses from Brewers fans. I'm literally seeing, this is not a joke, I was seeing on multiple different people's, threads, Brewer fans trying to rank where this collapse would go in Wisconsin sports history. Like they're literally like, this would be top 3 or top 4 at worst all-time Wisconsin sports playoff collapses, up 2-0 against a rival, against the Cubs. We blew them out in 2 games. And I swear I'm seeing people that are like, well, the NFC Championship in 2016 is number 1. You can't forget the Badgers blowing it against Duke in the NCAA championship in March Madness when they had Kaminsky and Decker. And then they're literally talking about this series already. So as much as Cub fans are nervous, I'm not going to say the Cubs are playing with house money, because it is 2-2 now. It is win or go home, game 5. But all of that pressure is so squarely on Milwaukee's shoulders, and they, for multiple reasons, Jason. Here's a couple of them. They had the best record in baseball this year. They love playing that underdog card. They had the best record in not just the National League. They had the best record in baseball this year. They were up 2-0 in this series. They took a gigantic swing, one I do not blame them for whatsoever. I thought it was the right call. They took the big swing tonight to put their ace out there in Freddie Peralta to try to slam the door on the Cubs. The Cubs will feel pressure. Cubs fans will be nervous. A lot of it is going to be on the shoulders of those players for the Milwaukee Brewers going back home, knowing the last thing they want to do is not only blow a 2-0 series lead in the playoffs, but to do it to the Cubs and have it happen on their home field. So I understand the nerves. It makes complete sense. If you got the butterflies going already for Saturday, it just means you care, right? It means you're invested in it a little bit.
Yeah.
I am promising you, Brewer fans are going through hell tonight, trying to capture this and hope that it's not a collapse in 3 straight losses to the Cubs. I was just scrolling on Twitter, and I will admit, and maybe I'm a little evil for this, Jason, I was smiling. I'm reading all these responses like, this would rank easy top 5, probably top 3 Wisconsin sports postseason collapses, and it hasn't happened yet. And the Brewers could very well go out and win game 5. They're a really good baseball team. But I'm telling you, it is panic city over there in Milwaukee. It is panic city.
There's an old tweet out there that makes its round every year in the playoffs, and it's by Jordan Freeman, and I love it because it's everyone in that stadium wants to kill themselves. That's what baseball is all about. And that kind of sums up playoff baseball to me. It's like, it doesn't matter which team you're rooting for. Like, you just spend the whole game just hating yourself and hating every moment of it and being so nervous. I can't tell you how many Cubs fans I saw, my friends, who were convinced, like, we got to score more runs. We're up by 5. I don't feel comfortable yet. Man, there's 3 outs left to go in the game. We're up by 5. I think if we blow this game, we've got bigger deals. We have bigger things to worry about. So yeah, listen, Cubs fans were in that space going into game 3.
100%.
And they had all the pressure in the world, and they won the last 2. On the flip side, now Brewers fans are going to feel that way. Anything can happen. It's like a 51-49 toss-up. Like, you can put your 51 on either team you want. It's going to be a toss-up on Saturday. It's going to be great, though. It's set up to be such a fun and epic day on Saturday for Cubs Brewers, and the rivalry I think it's really starting to take kind of hold, especially even on the Cubs end. I think if the Cubs players probably wouldn't tell you this right now, but I'm sure that they were a little tired of Mizorowski game 2. They showed I don't know if you paid attention to it, but on the kind of like pregame run up, they showed Mizorowski as the highlight from game 2 in that celebration after the put out that he had at first base. And again, man, I hated that. That was obnoxious. And I don't really get that way. I'm not usually like the get off my lawn, don't celebrate kind of guy. Like, I'm always like if you hit the ball 450 feet, pimp that, man. Like you did that. That's all you, baby. But that one felt real forced for me. And
that's why I didn't like it. That's why I didn't like it. It felt forced. It didn't feel natural.
Real forced. Nah, it didn't. It was that one didn't feel earned. And I get it. Like, you're playing in the playoffs, it's your first inning. You got out of the inning, but that one didn't feel like it was earned.
Yeah.
So my guess is the Cubs players are probably a little kind of would love to get a little bit on him. So, I think Saturday is going to be so much fun. I can't wait.
You brought up one interesting number that I don't think can get overlooked. You said this game 5 on Saturday is like a 51-49%. I truly believe if Freddie Peralta was out there on Saturday going against anyone for the Cubs, it'd be more like 55-45, and that doesn't sound like much, but in a game, in a series that has played out like this, it's a lot. I am with you 100%, Jason. That Saturday feels like a 51-49%, where the margins are going to be so razor thin in deciding who wins this game. We're going to make.
I love Jordo, man. I'm here for it.
One other thing I want to touch on in tonight's game: Michael Busch goes yard in the 8th inning to make it 6-0.
God, what a series!
What a postseason! So my question was,
dude's a monster.
I've watched almost every inning of every game going back to the wild card, like very close to it. Of all these series, obviously I've watched every pitch of the Cubs games. My question, Jason, is, aside from, because I'm going to give him his kudos because he certainly deserves it. Aside from what Vladimir Guerrero Jr. just did to the Yankees, and perhaps even Aaron Judge, because Aaron Judge was incredible that entire series. Aside from those two, and another name I want to throw in there just for fun, Javier Baez is having a hell of a postseason.
Good for him, man. He's had such a weird career. I'm so glad that he's had a good season. He deserves a little bit of good.
So they've played 7 postseason games. He's had a hit, at least one, in every single one except one. And he has 3 multi-hit games. He had the home run on Wednesday against Seattle to really put things out of reach. And most importantly, in 26 at-bats this postseason, Javi Baez only has 2 strikeouts. Like, he's had a really good playoffs. But my question, Jason, to circle this back, outside of Vladdy and Aaron Judge, is there a hotter hitter on the planet than Michael Busch? Because incredible.
The only one who might be hotter is Ian Happ if the wind had been blowing out just a little bit. I mean, today, legitimately, the shortest hit that he had tonight was a 102-mile-an-hour flyout for 360 feet. So, like, I mean, you hit that the right spot with the wind blowing out. He has 4 home runs tonight. Like, legitimately, he could have had 4 home runs tonight. If you take away Ian Happ's, maybe almost could have, had the wind been a little bit nicer, 4 home run game tonight. Michael Busch is top 3 right now. He's been fantastic. First ever major league player to have multiple leadoff home runs in the same series. He hit a home run against a lefty today, and I have railed all season that he should not play against lefties. He does have a 52 W in his last 52 plate appearances in the regular season against lefties. He had a 143 WRC plus against lefties. I'm not saying he's fixed. I'm not saying don't platoon him in some way, shape, or form next year, but there is starting to be data that suggests this is somebody who might not need like a full-time platoon guy. Like maybe you sit him against the toughest lefties, but against your Robert Gassers or your like mediocre lefties, Jose Quintana's, like you just kind of start him and you just let him go. That's a huge jump for him because lefties just don't hit lefties well. And if you can find the left-handed hitter that can hit lefties even decently, that's a massive thing. So Michael Busch has turned himself from a guy that I liked in the trade to a guy that I think is just a really damn good baseball player. And I'm glad because one of the prospects that went back to the Dodgers is Zaire Hope. He's been he's gotten top 25 love in multiple different outlets since the trade. And the amount of times that I could hear people like, oh, we're going to like regret that trade. Well, yeah, but here's the thing. By the time Zaire Hope even comes up, Michael Busch so far, like if Zaire Hope started the season in Major League Baseball next year, which he's not going to, but even if he did, Michael Busch has already added 5 wins for the Chicago Cubs, and he's getting better and better. Like he's such a good player. We probably haven't talked enough about how good he's been this year. I said that I would maybe give Nico Horner my MVP vote, but I think Michael Busch would probably be one of the guys right up there in that top one. I talked about that last night. He's just been so good, and he was good again tonight. He just has good at bats. It's hard to talk about all of the things that he does well without forgetting some of them.
Absolutely. I was looking at Marquee to see if any of the managers just said anything post game, and the first thing that popped up on my timeline, Kyle Tucker talking to Taylor McGregor on the field after the win. He said, "This fan base is phenomenal. It's so loud in here." I love hearing that from Kyle Tucker, a guy that I hope
the Freddie chants early tonight were
my gosh, those
God, Wrigley was crushing it tonight. Credit to Wrigley, they came.
Pat Murphy said the Cubs earned it. They had their backs against the wall and they played great. They're built to be great. Craig Counsell said the crowd was incredible. I've never seen a baseball game like that.
Yeah.
Talking about the fans at Wrigley. Ian Happ, these guys have been carrying me all playoffs. To contribute early like that was huge. Just awesome. So that's all I had for the actual game tonight, and we pretty much previewed Game 5. If you want to wrap up just like what your expectations are for this one, because this is the last time we'll be in front of the microphone chit-chatting with one another and, of course, with everyone that tunes in. And as always, if you're tuning in via our YouTube channel that we're trying to build up at Northside Baseball, please click subscribe. It costs you nothing, and it helps us immensely. And we will be back Saturday night, win or lose, after Game 5 between the Cubs and the Brewers. But Jason, I'll let you kind of put a bow on things with whatever direction you want to take it for Game 5. Expectations, predictions, thoughts, any of it. Go ahead.
I'll say this tonight, and I won't feel this way in the third inning on Saturday, but I'll say it now. It feels a little bit like the Cubs are playing with some house money right now. And so I'm just feeling good. Like I say this now that I'm feeling good. The Cubs were down 2-0. They've brought it back to Game 5. They won their games at Wrigley. If you want to talk about selling the Cubs to Kyle Tucker, which I don't think that you have to. I think money sells, not fans. But I hate saying that. I know that seems so like kind of like dismissive of what we do. But money talks. But you sold a Wrigley Field environment. As of right now, Kyle Tucker's last at bat. And I again hate to say that. It might be a home run at Wrigley Field. So like, you feel good about it in that aspect. I feel like you go into Game 5. I know it's Milwaukee, and I know if they win, they'll celebrate and they'll feel great. But they also almost blew it. So I'm gonna feel a little bit like house money tonight. These last games were fun. It was a good reminder of what fun playoff baseball was, which isn't to take away the Padres series, because the Padres series was fun, but I guess the wild card series just doesn't feel the same as the divisional series. Beating the Padres doesn't feel as good as winning games against the Brewers, interdivision rival. So I feel tonight like going into Saturday is a little bit like house money. Once the game starts to get closer and closer on Saturday, I'm not going to feel this way anymore. This is definitely it's 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have to teach kids tomorrow morning. I'm going to be exhausted. but it's all worth it. Like, this was a great game. It was a great experience. I love talking. I love going live. I love that there are people hanging out with us and asking us questions. Jordo and Zach and Ori has been with us all the time.
Yeah.
And I know Jeff has been here, and so we've had a bunch of people who just kind of joined us, had a lot of fun. So I'm feeling a little bit like house money tonight, but again, it's also 1 a.m. for me, and it could just be pure exhaustion talking. But I'm excited. I'm going to dive into Mizorowski tomorrow. There's always a flaw. There's always a flaw somewhere, and so I think Saturday is going to be a hell of a time, and I hope that we're doing this again on Saturday with a smile on our face, talking about the Dodgers, because even at that point, again, that'll be the ultimate house money. You go into an NLCS against the Dodgers a year when I think everybody thought they were just about the best team that we've seen for a while on paper. Whatever happens in that, I think it's house money. So I'm feeling good about it, and that's guess where I'm at. And I don't know if you kind of feeling the same way or what. Maybe, like I said, it's decent chance it's 1 a.m. and that's what's talking.
Yeah, I hear everything you're saying. I don't when it's 2-2 and it's a game 5, I don't want to say they're playing with house money, because now I'm just so invested in just go get this done. Just go get this done. You just crawled back from 2-0 when you could have rolled over, and we had talked about how this didn't have the feel or the make of a roster that would do that. That would just go into game 3 and throw up the white flag early. And now they fought back. So now you kind of want a bigger bite of the apple, and that bigger bite of the apple is taking game 5. I thought everything you said, though, was perfectly put. I'm going to leave on this note. I did find kind of what many people in Brewers land seem to agree on, Jason, and the rankings for worst losses Wisconsin sports postseason history. They seem to agree that the 2014 NFC title game, Packers Seahawks, is number 1. The Wisconsin Duke March Madness Championship is 2. The 2011 NLCS is 3. The 2020 NFC title game for the Packers is 4, when they lost to Brady and the Buccaneers. And then they all seem to want to put this series right here at number 5 if the Brewers lose on Saturday. So that would be pretty interesting.
I've got 2 things now to wrap up. It came to me. One, I'm glad that the number 2 game is Wisconsin blowing it to Duke, because that was the Kentucky undefeated blue and white platoon season.
Yeah.
I remember being out at Campus Pub here in Lexington, Kentucky, and being absolutely devastated when they blew that game. So sucks for Kaminsky. Number 2, just posted by Jesse Rogers, 17 teams have gone to game 5 after being down 2-0. In those game 5s, the team who is down 2-0 is 10-7 history.
Wow,
in history.
That is a fun fact.
So a little bit of a fun fact, maybe a little extra hopium for us going into Saturday. I don't believe that those 17 games have anything to do with the Cubs on Saturday.
But it's a fun note. At the same
time, it's a fun note. It makes you feel a little bit better. It's not like it's like out of the realm of possibility. So it feels like, Saturday's doable.
He is Jason Ross. I'm Mitch Whitmire. This has been a live edition, Instant Reaction, the Northside Baseball Podcast. We will be back Saturday night, hopefully with smiles on our face.
Yeah, let's go.
Hopefully previewing a Cubs-Dodgers NLCS. For tonight, the Cubs take it 6-0. Brilliance from Boyd. Masterpiece after masterpiece out of the bullpen. A huge 3-run homer from Ian Happ. Solo shots from Kyle Tucker and Michael Bushlate. And the Cubs beat the Brewers 6-0. We will see you Saturday night, win or lose, after Game 5. This has been another live edition of the Northside Baseball Podcast.